It's been several years since I've been bottom. Like, it's been so long since I've been a bottom that I don't even remember actually the last time I was bottom. But, I think I've mentioned this before. One of the first times I was bottom, it was just not, it was not fun. He was like a jackhammer. He was a jackhammer. And, he didn't know what he was doing. And I didn't know what I was doing. And it was dry and rough. And, he was like a jackhammer just drilling away type of thing. And, he caused some damage that it took like 3 months of healing properly. And I was so scared ever to be a bottom again, and that I didn't bottom again for 3 to about 4 years. Actually, for 3 to 4 years, I didn't actually have intercourse with anyone. I wasn't a top, I wasn't a bottom. I just didn't do anything of that sort except for, maybe oral or something like that. But yeah, I was scared to bottom again. And I'm so grateful that the fact that he didn't have my size or below or something bigger than me, because he would have ended up for his size, and he wasn't, he wasn't like thick, he wasn't long, just about close to average. And, with that, he did damage. It would have just been 20 times worse if he would have been just a little bit bigger, or my size, or even bigger. He would have been, and if he would have been like thick as me, it would have been 20, 30 times worse, because I have a really thick, it would just been worse. So, you know, I I was scared to be bottom again, and it took a long time to heal. And I was just scared to ever bottom again. And, I tell people that if you're going to bottom, you want to make sure that you're with someone who is going to know what they're doing, and you're going to want to know what you're doing. And the most important thing is that person's relaxed and you're relaxed. And, even if you're not feeling, it was not fun for me. It was fun for him, but it was not fun for me. Like, you want somebody who's gonna understand. I think for me, being a top, I'm always paying attention, and especially with my size and thickness, I, you know, even if I'm going aggressive, I start off in slow way and build my way up, unless the person wants me to, be really wild and aggressive. Then yeah, I have no problem with that, because you want me to, and you're letting me know that's what you're into, and you can handle it, and you like that. But you want someone who's gonna be understanding, and someone who's going to, you know, not just be about themselves. And you kind of want to use some type of lube. That it was for me, it was just dry, and he was drilling like a jackhammer, and it was just, it was just not, it was just not fun. And I didn't realize that there were damage until, the next day it just got worse and worse. And, healing took a long time because, you're going to the bathroom. So, it's not like something that, okay, I cut myself or whatever the case may be, or I bruised myself or whatever, that, you just put a band-aid and, everything is good, because you're going to the bathroom. So healing is going to take a much longer time. And it took, I think 4 months or so, to completely, because he was just, I think it took like maybe somewhere between 2 to 4 months of properly healing. And as I said, I was just scared to ever be bottom again. Like it took me like 4 years to bottom again. And then the next time I became bottom for the first time after like, not having that, I was scared because I was like, oh my God, it was the last time was just not fun. There was some damn, but I relaxed. I'm like, okay, that was that person. This is someone different. And, it was fun after not being bottom for like 4 years because I was so scared. And, I could have done it sooner. I was just so scared too. And yeah, the person that I had fun with, after that, yeah, he wasn't like soft and gentle in the sense, but he wasn't like crazy like the other person. Like he wasn't like aggressive, like, he didn't like, but he wasn't, So I think that you really have to, especially, for those who've never bottomed, you want someone you know, like you can talk to, and, someone who's just not going to be all about themselves. And you also want to be comfortable. You want to be relaxed. You want to use lots of lube and things like that. And, I'm just, as I said, I'm just so grateful that with his size, that, the damage wasn't as crazy, because if he was like my thickness or even close to my length, it would have been 20, 30 times worse. And, yeah, it was just not fun. It was painful. And it's when it happened after, I didn't feel it too much, but it started to, as the next day and the day after, especially like when you have to go to the bathroom, it just, and yeah. So, the funny thing is, I didn't see this person for like, a long time actually. And, I saw him on the streets, walking, and, every time he would see me, he was with his girlfriend or something, he would try not to look at me. And then one day he just moved into my old apartment building. I guess he didn't, never see me coming in and out of the building. So he moved into my old apartment building. And when he saw that I live in the same building, he moved. He moved because, he has his girlfriend. And, it's what am I going to say? Oh, yeah, yeah, it was just, yeah. That boy did not know how to FUCK because he just drill all, just drilling. He just did not know. And I'm pretty sure he probably does the same thing when he's, with his, with women, just drilling, like a jackhammer. You know how a jackhammer just, that's how he was doing it. And, I didn't know any better too much, so yeah, that's all I have to say.